In the world of technology, two giants have been locked in a battle for supremacy. Apple and Samsung, two names that have defined the way we communicate, create, and connect. Over the years, their rivalry has transcended mere competition, becoming a saga of innovation, lawsuits, and global domination. From the courtroom clashes over patents to the race for the most advanced smartphone, this is not just a competition, it's a war. A war fought in labs, factories, and the hands of billions of users worldwide. But how did this rivalry begin? Why has it become one of the most intense battles in tech history? And perhaps most importantly, who's really winning? In this video, we unravel the story of Apple and Samsung, from their unlikely partnership to their fierce rivalry. We'll explore the innovations, controversies, and power moves that have shaped the tech world as we know it. Get ready to dive into the war between Apple and Samsung. Explained. It all began in 2007. The world was about to change forever. Apple, a company known for its sleek computers and revolutionary iPod, unveiled a device that would redefine what it meant to communicate in the modern age, the iPhone.
These are not three separate devices. This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone.
With a single swipe across a glass screen, Apple introduced the future, a touch interface, a sleek design, and the promise of an all-in-one device that would replace cameras, music players, and even computers. The iPhone wasn't just a product, it was a revolution. And Apple, seemingly overnight, became the leader in a new era of technology. But Apple wasn't building this future alone. Behind the scenes, an unexpected ally was helping to power their success: Samsung. Known for its prowess in manufacturing and electronics, Samsung supplied key components for the iPhone, including its memory chips and early displays. For years, Apple and Samsung worked side by side, a partnership built on mutual need. Apple needed Samsung's advanced manufacturing capabilities, and Samsung benefited from the booming demand for Apple's groundbreaking device. But partnerships can be fragile, especially when ambition gets in the way. By 2010, Samsung was no longer content to play the supporting role. They wanted to lead, and they had the resources to do it. Enter the Galaxy series. With its competitive features and bold designs, Samsung's smartphones quickly gained traction. They weren't just another Android manufacturer, they were becoming Apple's fiercest competitor. The collaboration that had once fueled innovation for both companies now became a source of tension. Apple accused Samsung of copying their designs.
The trial that began today in California is ostensibly about patents related to software. But Apple and Samsung are locked in a much bigger showdown over dominance in a $200 billion+ market. Apple claims Samsung has illegally copied an operating system it says it pioneered in iPhones and iPads. It's seeking $2.5 billion in damages. Samsung counters that, if anything, Apple has copied key parts of the iPhone from mobile phones of the past. Also implicated in the fight is another tech giant. Apple is upset over the Google Android phone operating system used by Samsung and other manufacturers. Before he died last year, Apple founder Steve Jobs told his biographer, "I will spend every penny of Apple's $40 billion in the bank to right this wrong. I'm going to destroy Android. I'm willing to go to thermonuclear war on this."
Samsung accused Apple of stifling competition. What began as a partnership transformed into a rivalry, one that would soon spill into the public eye, igniting a war that would shape the tech industry for years to come. This was only the beginning. In April 2011, the war moved into the courtroom. Apple, emboldened by the success of its iPhone and iPad, filed a lawsuit against Samsung. Their claim? Samsung wasn't just competing, they were copying. Apple alleged that Samsung's Galaxy devices blatantly mimicked the design of the iPhone, from the rounded corners to the grid of app icons. They argued that this wasn't innovation, it was theft. And for the first time, the rivalry left the labs and boardrooms and became a global spectacle. The battle wasn't just over aesthetics. At the core of the conflict were key patents, technological breakthroughs that had set Apple apart.
Stronger than before, easing concerns about accidental bending. The 6S and 6S Plus also introduced a completely new way to interact with iPhone called 3D Touch. This technology added pressure sensitivity to the display, letting users preview content before opening it and access app shortcuts from the home screen.
Among them, the bounce back feature when scrolling, the pinch to zoom gesture, and even the design of the phone itself. Samsung, in Apple's eyes, had crossed the line. Samsung definitely fought back, arguing that Apple's designs weren't as unique as they claimed. Do you agree? Rounded corners, Samsung said, were a natural evolution of the smartphone, not a proprietary innovation. The fight escalated, with Samsung filing countersuits of their own, claiming Apple infringed on their wireless technology patents.
Much of the huge market for mobile devices could feel the shockwaves from Apple's billion-dollar win over Samsung in the California courtroom. CNET writer Josh Lowenson covered the month-long trial.
In the world of tech, this is a really big deal because it comes down to this he said, she said argument of who created something.
The jury agreed that Apple created software for on-screen actions like pinching and zooming, and design features like the iPhone's rounded corners and the arrangement of icons on the screen. Samsung is not the only maker of lookalikes.
For a lot of other cell phone makers who have maybe similar-looking devices, they might have to rethink how they design phones and tablets.
The verdict sharpens Apple's competition with Google, maker of the Android software that runs on many smartphones and tablets, including those made by Samsung. Android phones now outsell iPhones by 3-1. Apple said the verdict sends a loud and clear message that stealing isn't right. Samsung called the verdict a loss for the American consumer, which could bring potentially higher prices. The company says it will appeal, and for now at least, the affected products will remain on the shelves. And this isn't the only legal clash between Apple and Samsung. A judge in South Korea yesterday reached a split decision in a similar patent case. The two technology giants are battling in courtrooms around the world, as well as in store.
The legal battles dragged on for years, spanning multiple countries and costing billions in legal fees. In 2012, a U.S. court ruled in favor of Apple, ordering Samsung to pay over $1 billion in damages, a verdict that was later reduced. Meanwhile, courts in other parts of the world ruled in favor of Samsung, turning this dispute into a high-stakes game of global chess. While the lawsuits dominated headlines, they left both companies scarred in different ways. Apple solidified its reputation as a design-first innovator, but critics accused the company of stifling competition. For Samsung, the lawsuits were a blow, but they also cemented their status as Apple's equal, worthy of standing toe-to-toe with the industry giant. The courtroom drama was just one front in this war. Behind the scenes, the real battle raged on, a race to out-innovate, out-design, and outsmart one another. This was a war for the future of technology. In the war between Apple and Samsung, the battlefield wasn't just in the courtroom or the lab, it was in the minds of consumers. The stakes? Loyalty, identity, and a spot in the cultural zeitgeist. And the weapon of choice? Marketing. Apple approached its campaigns with precision and elegance, crafting a minimalist message designed to inspire. From the groundbreaking 1984 ad to the iconic Think Different campaign, Apple had long mastered the art of emotional storytelling. When the iPhone debuted, they doubled down on this strategy, presenting the device not as just another gadget, but as a life-changing tool. Their ads were aspirational, speaking to the dreamers and creators. Apple wasn't just selling a product, they were selling a lifestyle, one of simplicity, creativity, and sophistication. And millions bought into it, not just the phones, but the idea of Apple itself. Samsung, however, took a very different approach. In 2011, they launched a series of ads under the banner The Next Big Thing, and they didn't shy away from taking direct aim at Apple. In these commercials, Samsung painted Apple users as followers.
Do it, do it, do it.
These ribs are insane. Hello?
Yo, Scott, what's up, man?
You gotta be kidding me. That's how you answer it?
Yeah, please. Okay. Oh, good. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
You want it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Here, I want to share. Can I share too?
No, yours doesn't do that.
Wow. Got the whole flop in one picture. Hey, you nailed it.
I nailed something.
So some smartphones are smarter than other smartphones.
Exactly.
What are we doing with these phones?
Call your phone with my phone. Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Ooh, Tiffany texted.
Oh, I got it.
That was awesome. What'd she say?
She's wondering if we'll stay long.
No.
Hey, what else does it do?
Look inside.
You can control a TV with that thing?
Yeah, it recommends shows, too.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna like this.
Do it again. 2019!
Obsessed with style over substance, while positioning their Galaxy devices as the superior choice for those who demanded real innovation. It was a bold, even risky move, but it paid off. By openly mocking their competitor, Samsung made waves. Their approach was brash, direct, and unapologetic, a stark contrast to Apple's serene sophistication. Samsung didn't just challenge Apple in the smartphone market. They challenged their cool factor, flipping the narrative in their favor. These campaigns weren't just selling phones, they were shaping public perception. Apple's ads reinforced their brand's identity as aspirational and elite, while Samsung's marketing invited customers to take a stand against conformity, framing themselves as the disruptor. The result? A deep cultural divide. For many, choosing between Apple and Samsung wasn't just a consumer decision, it was a statement about who they were and what they valued. But the war wasn't won on marketing alone. Behind the scenes, both companies were fighting to dominate markets around the globe, where loyalty was fleeting and innovation was everything. In the battle between Apple and Samsung, the stakes extend far beyond product design and marketing. This war is global, stretching across continents and cultures, shaped by economies, supply chains, and shifting geopolitics. In the global market, the battlefield is uneven, and the strategies are as varied as the landscapes. In the West, Apple reigns supreme. The United States and Europe have long been Apple's strongholds, where their devices are not just tools but status symbols. The iPhone represents luxury, innovation, and exclusivity, a combination that has earned Apple a fiercely loyal customer base. While Apple focuses on premium products, their strategy has been less effective in price-sensitive markets. In regions like Africa, Southeast Asia, and parts of Latin America, the high price tag of an iPhone often places it out of reach. Here's where Samsung shines. With a broad product lineup from flagship models to budget-friendly devices, Samsung dominates emerging markets. They understand that affordability and accessibility are key to winning over billions of customers who prioritize value over prestige. But Samsung's advantage isn't just about price, it's about power. As one of the largest electronics manufacturers in the world, Samsung controls a significant portion of its own supply chain. From processors to displays, Samsung not only builds for itself but supplies components to competitors, including Apple. This vertical integration allows Samsung to adapt quickly, control costs, and ensure steady production, a crucial edge in an industry where supply disruptions can cripple a company. Apple, by contrast, relies heavily on external suppliers, making them more vulnerable to global crises. Geopolitical tensions have added another layer of complexity to this rivalry. The US-China trade war has forced companies to rethink their strategies.
On the streets of China, Apple's iPhones are a hard sell. For the first time in 15 years, Apple is cutting revenue expectations. CEO Tim Cook telling CNBC the trade war is a major factor.
As we look at what's going on in China, it's clear that the economy began to slow there for the second half. And what I believe to be the case is the trade tensions between the United States and China put additional pressure on their economy.
Apple stock sank fast.
Apple shares are on pace for one of the worst days in history.
Down 10% today, and pulling the entire market down on concern the trade war is slowing the Chinese and global economies. President Trump tweeting, "We're doing well in various trade negotiations currently going on. At some point, this had to be done." Meanwhile, his economic advisor says U.S. companies doing business in China are paying a price for the trade war. GM, Ford, Boeing, Caterpillar, and Starbucks stocks all sliding today.
You look at U.S. multinationals, that it's natural that their profits, if to the extent that they're generated in China, would be going down.
Still, many customers in China and at home say they simply can't afford an iPhone priced at $1,000 or more, choosing cheaper Asian brands instead. The question tonight, has Apple outpriced its customers, or is the trade war really starting to bite?
Apple, whose devices are primarily assembled in China, has faced increased scrutiny and pressure to diversify its production. Meanwhile, Samsung, with its manufacturing spread across South Korea, Vietnam, and India, has been better positioned to weather these storms. But even Samsung isn't immune. As global powers clash, supply chains grow fragile, and markets become harder to predict. Both companies find themselves navigating an increasingly uncertain future, one where political decisions can be just as impactful as technological innovations. As the dust settles on the current battles, the question remains, what's next for Apple and Samsung? The future of technology, and perhaps the world, will depend on who wins the next stage of this war. The war between Apple and Samsung has shaped the past decade of technology. But as the dust settles on smartphones, a new battlefield is emerging, one defined by cutting-edge technologies that promise to revolutionize the way we live, work, and connect. The future of this rivalry will be fought in realms we are only beginning to imagine. Both companies are setting their sights on the next wave of innovation. Samsung, already a leader in foldable phones, continues to push the boundaries of what smartphones can be. Meanwhile, Apple is staking its claim in augmented and virtual reality with the Vision Pro, a device they call spatial computing. These emerging technologies represent more than just new products. They are a declaration of intent, a race to define the future of human interaction. With AI becoming deeply integrated into devices, from Samsung's Bixby to Apple's Siri, the competition is no longer about hardware alone. It's about creating ecosystems that think, adapt, and anticipate your needs. But smartphones and wearables are only part of the story. Both companies are diversifying their product lines to dominate every corner of the digital experience. Apple's ecosystem has grown to include the Apple Watch, AirPods, and HomePods, while Samsung has built a network of interconnected devices through its SmartThings platform, from refrigerators to televisions. This expansion isn't just about convenience, it's about loyalty. By locking users into their ecosystems, Apple and Samsung ensure that their customers will not only buy more products, but will also rely on them for their everyday lives. The competition is no longer just about the device in your hand. It's about the devices in your home, your pocket, and even your body. So who will lead the next era of innovation? Apple, with its unwavering focus on premium products and tightly integrated software, or Samsung, with its ability to quickly iterate, experiment, and offer solutions across every price range? The truth is, the future of this rivalry remains unwritten. What we do know is that the next chapter won't just be about who sells the most devices. It will be about who shapes the future of how we live. Foldable screens, augmented worlds, artificial intelligence. The battlefield is changing, and the stakes have never been higher. In the end, this war isn't just about Apple or Samsung. It's about us, the consumers, and the world we want to create. So, who really wins? Stay tuned as we uncover the answer.
I use iPhone because it doesn't lag.
iPhone. I have used iPhone.
iPod.
Samsung is too loose design, too sexy design.
iPhone. Yeah,
definitely.
And why?
It's so much easier to use, and I've never had a Samsung before, and I think everyone else has an iPhone, so I'd probably get an iPhone.
And like apps and stuff come out for iPhone usually first, so it's better on
Samsung, definitely.
Was there a reason, or it's just your voice?
Generally I'm influenced by my dad, who doesn't like Apple. He's got this thing against it because it's all sort of, it's very sort of like consumerism. Like, if you break your iPhone screen, you have to go to a specific iPhone near the Apple store and get it fixed, or specific suppliers, and you can't fix it yourself and that sort of thing. So I think it's called something like consumer obfuscation or something, where they make things so that they don't last as long as they really could.
iPhone,
because of habit usually.
Because of habit?
Yeah, I'm used to using it.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to swap.
Yeah.
I mean, what would Samsung have to do to win you over?
I don't know. I don't think they could. I don't know.
I just find it convenient because of like iTunes and my music.
Because of iTunes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with me, I'm just used to all the iPhone functions, and I'm not really bothered to like learn everything else.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
For more than a decade, the rivalry between Apple and Samsung has shaped the world of technology. But who truly wins in this ongoing battle? The answer isn't as simple as profit margins or market share. The real victors, and the ones most impacted, are all of us. First, consider the impact on consumers. The competition between Apple and Samsung has been relentless. But this has been a driving force behind some of the most transformative innovations in tech. Foldable screens, advanced cameras, wireless charging, wearable devices, all born from a need to outdo the other. And then there's the cost. While flagship devices remain expensive, the rivalry has created a ripple effect across the industry, making advanced technology more affordable. Consumers now have access to incredible devices at every price point. Proof that competition isn't just about winning, it's about pushing the limits of what's possible. Of course, behind the scenes, the stakes couldn't be higher. Apple, with its sky-high profit margins, dominates in terms of financial power, regularly topping lists of the most valuable companies in the world. Their ability to turn premium products into cultural phenomena is unmatched. But Samsung, with its diverse product portfolio and manufacturing might, holds an equally formidable position. Their ability to innovate across multiple industries, smartphones, appliances, semiconductors, makes them a powerhouse with unparalleled reach. Together, these two companies command a significant share of the global market with billions in annual revenue. But the numbers only tell part of the story. Perhaps the most enduring legacy of this rivalry is cultural. Apple and Samsung aren't just brands, they're symbols. Apple represents creativity, simplicity, and exclusivity, while Samsung embodies adaptability, boldness, and accessibility. This dichotomy has turned a corporate competition into a global conversation about identity and choice. The rivalry has sparked loyalty and division, inspired innovation and parody, and even influenced how we view technology itself. Whether you're an Apple loyalist or a Galaxy devotee, the choice between these brands says something about who you are or who you aspire to be. In the end, the war between Apple and Samsung is more than a competition. It's a mirror reflecting the pace of progress, the power of choice, and the endless potential of human innovation. So, who really wins? Maybe it's not a question of victory, but a testament to how far we've come and how far we have yet to go.